Have you ever been driving down the road and wondered, what would happen if I accidentally hit the start-stop button? Would the engine shut off instantly? Would you lose control of the car? Well, today we're breaking down exactly what happens when you push that button while driving. But before we dive in, do not try this in your own car seriously. This is one of those things that could put you in a dangerous situation if you're not careful. Instead, let's go over the facts, safety concerns, and what automakers have put in place to prevent a disaster. How push-button ignitions. Work modern cars no longer use traditional keys that you insert and turn in the ignition. Instead, most vehicles now come with push-button start, which means as long as you have the key fob in the car, you can start the engine with just a tap of a button. It's a cool and convenient feature, no more fumbling with keys, but it also raises an important question. What happens if you accidentally press the button while the car is moving? What happens at low speeds, under 5 miles per hour? If you're rolling at parking lot speeds under 5 miles per hour, most cars will shut off immediately when you press the start-stop button. This might not sound like a big deal, but imagine you're in a tight spot, pulling into traffic, or making a turn when it happens. Suddenly, you lose power steering, power brakes, and the ability to accelerate. In a worst-case scenario, this could cause a crash if another car is approaching or if you're in the middle of an intersection. So even at low speeds, pressing that button can be risky. What happens at highway speeds? 50 plus miles per hour. Now here's where things get interesting. At higher speeds, if you tap the button once, nothing happens. Car manufacturers have designed these systems with safety in mind because they know accidental presses can happen. So if you're cruising at 50 to 60 miles per hour and your hand slips, the car will ignore the input. However, if you press and hold the button for about 3 seconds, the car will shut off completely. And this is where things get really dangerous. Once the engine shuts down, you immediately lose power, steering and braking assistance, making it much harder to control the vehicle. The car doesn't just lock up, it still lets you steer and brake, but everything becomes significantly heavier, requiring much more effort to maneuver. Imagine being in the left lane on a busy highway, and suddenly your car shuts off. You will have to wrestle with the steering wheel to get to the side of the road, all while trying to avoid other vehicles. And if you're in a modern car with an electronic parking brake, you may not even be able to stop as quickly as you'd think. When would you need to shut off your car while driving? Now, let's talk about the rare scenarios where you might actually need to turn off the engine while driving. One of the biggest reasons, a stuck throttle. If your accelerator is jammed and the car is speeding up uncontrollably, shutting off the engine might be your only option. This has happened in real-life cases, and drivers who knew how to force a shutdown were able to avoid fatal accidents. So, if you're ever in a situation where the car is accelerating uncontrollably and braking isn't working, press and hold the start-stop button for 3 seconds, but only if you have no other choice. That's all for today. While testing this in a real-world scenario could put you and others in serious danger. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever had an experience where your car shut off while driving?